The average washing machine built in the 1970s lasted close to 20 years. Today, according to research published in a 2025 study from the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, that lifespan has dropped to just 10.6 years. A 45% collapse in durability. You paid over $1,000 for a machine that will be in a landfill before your kids leave the house. This is not bad luck. It is not user error. It is the result of a deliberate, documented, decades-long cost-cutting campaign that the industry has never once apologized for. Let us talk about what actually changed, and why almost nobody who sells you these machines wants you to know. Walk into any appliance store built before 1990 and look at the machines that came out of that era. The tubs were porcelain-coated steel. The frames were solid steel. The transmissions were engineered to run 7 loads a week for 2 decades without complaint. Repair technicians from that era describe machines that were overbuilt almost to the point of stubbornness. The kind of machines that outlived divorces, house moves, and children who grew up and had children of their own. Then something shifted in the 1990s, not all at once, one component at a time, one cost savings memo at a time. The first change most consumers never notice is what their tub is actually made of. Before the 1990s, the standard inner tub in a top-load washer was porcelain-coated steel. It was heavy, it was expensive to produce, and it lasted essentially forever. Then manufacturers began transitioning to plastic tubs in lower and mid-range models, and eventually across entire product lines. Plastic costs a fraction of steel to manufacture. It saves roughly $6 to $12 per unit depending on the model. It also cracks, warps under heat over time, and cannot survive the same mechanical loads. A porcelain tub from a 1978 machine still running in someone's garage has survived more than 10,000 cycles. A modern plastic tub is not designed to see anywhere near that number. The name on the outside looks the same. The material inside is not. The second failure point is what the industry casually refers to as the sealed drum bearing system. In older machines, drum bearings were serviceable. A technician could access them, replace them for under $50 in parts, and send you on your way. In the early 2000s, manufacturers began sealing the drum and bearing assembly together as a single unit. When the bearing fails, and it will, typically between years 5 and 9, you cannot replace just the bearing. You replace the entire drum and spider assembly. That repair costs between $400 and $600 in labor, and parts on a machine you paid $800 for. Most repair technicians will tell you directly, it is cheaper to buy a new machine. That is not an accident. That is the point. Appliance repairability has been engineered out of the product category on purpose. Now for the third change. This is not a Whirlpool problem. It is not a GE problem. It is an entire industry problem, and the data backs that up with specifics. In November 2016, the Consumer Product Safety Commission issued a recall of approximately 2.8 million Samsung top-load washing machines. Machines sold between March 2011 and November 2016. Because the top panel could physically detach from the chassis during the spin cycle, consumers reported 733 separate incidents of violent shaking and structural failure. 9 people were injured. The support rod holding the drum in place was, according to plaintiffs in subsequent lawsuits, simply too weak to do the job it was designed to do. Then in January 2023, Samsung recalled another 663,000 machines for overheating and fire risk. And in 2024, a separate class action lawsuit was filed, alleging that Samsung knew since 2013 that a metal flange in their top loaders was corroding and releasing particles into clothing, but continued selling the machines without disclosing the defect. The lawsuit is case number 2:24-CV-02133 in the U.S. District Court for New Jersey. The LG front-load line has its own bearing failure epidemic, documented in service forums going back a decade. And Yale Appliance, one of the most rigorous independent appliance retailers in the country, publishes annual repair rate data based on over 33,000 real service calls. Their data shows the appliance industry average first-year service rate sitting around 5.5%. That means roughly 1 in 18 brand new machines requires a service call before the first year is out. When a product fails this reliably this fast, it is not a defect. It is a business model, follow the money, and one acquisition explains more than any other. In 2006, Whirlpool Corporation purchased Maytag for $1.7 billion. Within months of closing the deal, Whirlpool announced the closure of Maytag's manufacturing plants in Newton, Iowa, Herrin, Illinois, and Searcy, Arkansas. Nearly 4,500 American workers lost their jobs. The engineering identity that had made Maytag machines legendary, the porcelain tubs, the overbuilt transmissions, the near-obsessive commitment to serviceability, was dismantled plant by plant. Today, a machine sold under the Maytag name is mechanically a Whirlpool product, built to Whirlpool's cost structure. The brand was kept, the standards were not. That single acquisition handed Whirlpool approximately 46% of the U.S. major appliance market. And the appliance repair industry, which IBISWorld estimates at around $7 billion annually in revenue, grows every year that consumer machines get worse. The worse they build them, the more often they break. The more often they break, the more you pay, either in repairs or in replacements. The machine that dies costs you twice. Quality becomes a cost center to be minimized, not a standard to be upheld. So what do you actually buy if you want out of this cycle? The answer involves spending more upfront and thinking differently about what a washing machine is supposed to be. Speed Queen, manufactured in Ripon, Wisconsin, builds its residential machines on a commercial platform. Their machines are tested to 10,400 cycles, which translates to roughly 25 years of household use at 8 loads per week. Yale Appliances service data shows Speed Queen's first-year service rate at 3.6%, well below the industry average. Consumer Reports survey data consistently ranks them as the most reliable brand in the category. They use stainless steel tubs. They use serviceable mechanical components. They come with up to a 7-year parts and labor warranty, something no other major brand currently offers. You will not find them at Home Depot. You will not find them at Lowe's. Those two retailers control roughly 3/4 of all major appliance sales in the United States, and Speed Queen does not sell through them. That is not a distribution failure. That is a choice. Independent dealers stock them, and you can find them if you look for an authorized Speed Queen retailer in your area. Prices for a new Speed Queen top loader start around $1,100 and climb to around $1,600 for the top warranty tier. That sounds like more money until you account for 2 or 3 replacement cycles on a budget machine over the same time period. If you are buying used, look specifically for top-load machines from the early 1990s or before with a center dial mechanical timer and a porcelain or stainless steel inner tub. These are machines that were built before the plastic tub transition consolidated across the industry. A working Whirlpool direct drive from 1988 is a more reliable machine than most things on a showroom floor today. Parts are still available. Any competent technician can work on them in under an hour. What to avoid is straightforward once you know what you are looking at. Any machine where the drum is sealed to the bearing assembly, which includes most current front loaders from Samsung, LG, and Whirlpool, is a machine you will replace, not repair, when the bearing fails. Any machine with a touchscreen control panel on a budget body is a machine where the most failure-prone component costs the most to fix. And any machine sold under a brand name that has been acquired, relocated, and rebadged in the last 20 years is a machine whose engineering decisions were made by a cost reduction committee, not by the people who designed the original product. The repair industry is a $7 billion business built largely on the gap between what appliances used to be and what they are now. Every sealed bearing, every plastic tub, every unreplaceable control board fills that gap with your money. If this made you feel something, that mix of anger and recognition, there is more where this came from. Next time, we are looking at a major appliance category where a single company quietly consolidated so much of the market that you may not have had a real choice in years and you never knew it. Subscribe so you do not miss that one, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The machine is the product. The replacement is the business.